you wrote a blog during the Do the Math Challenge, and you were just watching the video of two of the reporters from the Brant News and what they ate that week. And you've talked to Peter Zoda, our executive director, who's done the Do the Math Challenge. And what's your opinion on the challenge and on the food that's being eaten at that time?
Well, in terms of the challenge, I mean, I think it's a great way to raise awareness, and definitely was an eye-opener even for me, in terms of, what people actually have to work with when they do go to the food bank. And in terms of the nutritional value, I know Peter mentioned, that he thought he might be getting enough calories. I would say, calorie needs are very individual. You look at height and weight and gender and how active you are. So it's hard to say for sure that it's definitely going to meet the calorie needs of everyone getting those boxes. That being said, a lot of those foods probably do provide a fair amount of calories, but it's a very carbohydrate-heavy diet that they're receiving, with little to no fruits or vegetables, certainly fairly low protein, and the protein that is being offered is probably higher in those unhealthy fats that we don't want as much of. And again, there wasn't really any dairy being offered, so certainly calcium and vitamin D intake is going to be an issue for people receiving these boxes. And I would also say that because a lot of the foods are canned, you're looking at quite a high sodium diet.
What kind of health outcomes then are we looking at from a regular diet of this? This was just a week for the folks on the challenge, but if this is your day in and your day out, what kind of health outcomes are we looking at?
So, certainly that high sodium could put you at risk for hypertension. We're looking at heart disease, potentially osteoporosis and bone issues because of the lack of calcium. And even with the lack of fiber, because there's no whole grains and no fruits and vegetables, very little in the way of legumes, people may be having digestive issues as well.
So what are some ways that people can eat a little healthier on the cheap if they have to?
Canned beans can be a good one, as long as I usually tell people to drain off the liquid that they're in, because that's where any sodium would be, and usually to rinse them out. Certainly rice can be a helpful staple. It's just that there was so many carbohydrate already in the diet being offered there that I think it was probably just kind of overload. Canned meats can be useful. Again, you can get them water packed and lower sodium. And certainly, using resources that are in the community, like the Good Food Box, where you can get, a $10 or $15 box of fresh produce.
What are some great things that people, if they're shopping and they're feeling generous and they know they want to donate to the food bank, what are some things you would recommend as a nutritionist that you prefer to see more of?
So I would say, again, certainly beans. Canned beans probably are more useful for people if they aren't sure how to cook the dried ones. Canned meats. I would say, even if you did want to do, I know they have some pasta dishes that were pre-packaged with the flavorings, but even if you just did like boxed pasta, and, even canned vegetables, at least they're getting some veggies in there, right?
What about canned fruit?
Again, trying to pick ones that would be in a lighter syrup, or occasionally you can get water packed, but they are harder to find. But certainly I think even getting those fruits and vegetable servings in there at all would be of benefit to people.
And when you say canned meat, you mean tuna and such, not Spam?
Right, yes. Like tuna and salmon. Yes, Spam's probably not going to be very helpful. Another big one would be peanut butter, I would say. We get a little more protein in there, at least. It does have some healthy fat.
Okay, and anything you'd like to add?
No, I just think it's a really great idea, and hopefully other individuals in the community have been following it as well and are inspired to do some good. So.
Excellent. Well, I think we had a lot of really amazing people with the Do the Math Challenge who wrote some incredible blogs, and you as a nutritionist wrote a good blog on there, and this video blog will go up, and thank you for your time, Katie.
Yes, you're welcome.